Good evening and welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. We've got Joel Sherman with Mark DeRosa, manager of this year's USA World Baseball Classic team. He's talking the Yankees offseason moves and how he assembled one of the most stacked World Baseball Classic teams ever. It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York sports for New York nuts. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go!
Look at the Yankees. I think the one kind of move that, for me, startled me was when they gave the qualifying offer to Trent Grisham.
Yep.
That everything else, and he could show up and be the same center fielder. Maybe he's figured something out in his swing. Maybe being around Judge and all those guys have locked him in. We know he can play D. Like, maybe that short porch works for him. But that's a big what if.
I have not heard a single person in the know on the radio right here on New York Minute Sports. No one believes that Trent Grisham's going to have a better season or equal season to he had last year. Everyone is considering that this guy is going to have a down year, and even guys like Mark DeRosa, who's in the know, is scratching his head on why the Yankees did it. But we had some light shed on it today. Is that Aaron Judge told the front office that he wanted Trent Grisham and Cody Bellinger back. And guess what? Aaron Judge holds that weight with the front office where they said yes, because Aaron Judge at any moment could turn around and go, you know what, Yankees, I'm not touching the field again until you add another $20 million to my contract, because I don't like being the ninth highest paid player in all of Major League Baseball.
Bellinger covers you. The reason I was devastated when he was decided not to do Team USA, because he wanted to honor the Yanks and, kind of be in camp with them. He covered us in so many places, and not just with the bat. It's like Gold Glove defense at 4 different positions. So if you can sign him, he's like signing 2 or 3 guys.
Well, this is going out to my Blue Jay and my Yankee fans. How do you feel 13 players from the Blue Jays, 12 players from the New York Yankees are going to play in the World Baseball Classic? Now, we all know what happened to the closer Diaz last World Baseball Classic, where he snapped his ankle and he missed almost the whole season. And when he came back, he was a shadow of himself. How do you feel about your players going out there? Do you think that their duty is to the team that they play baseball for the Major League Baseball? Or should they go represent their country and take a chance of getting hurt in a tournament that theoretically means nothing? Listen, I am a huge proponent of this tournament. I love it. But the injury risk is there, and God forbid something were to happen to somebody like Cody Bellinger after signing that huge contract. I'm glad Cody Bellinger is staying at spring training. And also, you're going to need some veteran guys around spring training to teach the young guy the ropes, because the captain, Aaron Judge, is going to be gone, and a lot of senior dudes from the Yankees, whether it's playing for Team USA, playing for Venezuela, all over the map, they're going to be gone.
I think there's big upside in some of the young starters, the Schlittlers. What are we going to get out of him this year? You're going to get Rodon back when? End of April, early May at some point. Cole's coming back. There really wasn't – I didn't think like the Yanks had a ton of moves to make that would have like – I don't know. Maybe you tell me. Maybe.
And you know what? I think Joel Sherman hit the nail right on the head when he compared – what the New York Yankees have done to what kind of the Atlanta Braves have been doing. A couple of big ticket items while building in through the farm system and going out and maybe getting one free agent. But when you're it's a good problem to have that we didn't need to go out and get 3 or 4 guys or overpay for a Marcus Stroman or overpay or give more years to a DJ LeMahieu because there was no other options out there. This is one of the thinnest free agency markets in recent history, guys. And the fact that the Yankees came out with Cody Bellinger was a godsend. The Yankees were lucky to retain him because with how weak the market was And with the money that Kyle Tucker was going to dictate, and people don't even know if he likes to play baseball, Cody Bellinger was the belle of the ball, but he waited too long, and that's what Aaron Judge was saying, and you're going to be able to see that video at the end of this. There's going to be a link that Aaron Judge was frustrated with the front office for not making moves early enough. That's on Cody Bellinger.
Off the cuff, if there's one move that you would have liked to have seen them make.
So look, I'm with you. You know, they didn't. The line I keep using is they're not running back the 119 loss Rockies. They're running back a 94 win team. By the way, that Garrett Cole didn't play for it all. That Ryan Weathers didn't play for all, and a bunch of their guys, Ryan McMahon, Caballero, played for 2 months. You know, like who should bring other stuff. You know, Ryan McMahon's defense was a changer for them, especially when Fried and Rodon pitched the lefties. When the ball's on the ground, you got to have a third baseman there who could defend, and they hadn't for a while. I thought that was a big deal.
I think also you have a lot of guys, and the Yankees were getting made fun of by getting players from the Rockies, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and it seemed like all these terrible teams that we were snagging guys from. But now they're able to come into the Yankees pitching lab. They're allowed to come into the Yankees spring training where the coaching staff is excellent. I don't know about the AAA and AA and the launch angle and all that nonsense, but when they get these guys in-house, they can turn the Tim Hills and the Luke Weavers of the world around, and that's what the Yankees bring. Guy like Duvall never got a spring training with the New York Yankees. Bednar never got a spring training with the New York Yankees. So with the guys that are existing on the team going through the system, what about Caballero? Going through the system and spending a spring training with the Yankees is going to be indispensable and make this team better. What the Yankees are expecting is for this team to take a step in progression. And that's why I keep saying put that notification button on, because I think this AL East race is going to be a tight one, because I think the Blue Jays, I think the Boston Red Sox, and the Yankees are going to regress in different ways. I think the Yankees are going to regress offensively. I think the Boston Red Sox, with the loss of Bregman, is going to regress offensively. And I think the Blue Jays are just going to regress overall because of the way and the rate and everything that happened to them last year, with everything going the right way. What goes up must come down in the game of baseball, folks.
One place I would wonder about is just somebody, he's going to play for you on Team USA, David Bednar, somebody more comfortable to get him the ball than what they have. Historically, the Yankees have kind of found that out of whole cloth, and they didn't last year. For about the first time in 10 years, their bullpen wasn't good. And
that's when you looked at the Yankees bullpen for the last 10 years, you were like, who are these guys in the bullpen? I don't even know who these guys are. And they would be lights out. That's the system of the New York Yankees. So last year, their chariot turned into a pumpkin and time was up, and finally it came back to bite the New York Yankees in the ass. Their bullpen was not good last year. And then the guys that we got in the trade market, we threw them right into the fire of a pennant race, and that could be a lot of weight on guys. Remember Bender and Duvall, their first 2 appearances were awful.
I didn't find that. You know, like, for example, they traded for Jake Bird last year at the deadline, and he was terrible, but he was a borderline all-star for the Rockies.
I know.
And does he turn into it? You know, and
Jake Bird apparently was used way too much with the Rockies last year. The Rockies bullpen was very thin, and they was the only guy that could pitch out of the bullpen, because you know what their record was last year. So when the Yankees got him, I think it was more of a this year move, because all of the guys that they got were under contract for 2 years, like Duvall, like Bednar, like Caballero, like Bird. And I think that I think guys like Blackburn and Bird, if they are good this year, that just shows how good the Yankees pitching system is.
With Mark DeRosa on the show, and look, Mark, we love having you on this show for lots of reasons, but the most obvious is this tournament is coming up. I believe pool players March 5th to 11th, the semifinals and finals 15th and the 17th in Miami. And Mark, I know because I was up at the network with you so much last year. While you're doing a full-time job, you were doing a full-time job. You were recruiting like crazy. Yeah. And I mean, people should know that how much you care, how diligent you were, how much you were working behind the scenes. So I wonder if I could start with literally the big guy, with
Yeah.
Aaron Judge? Because it feels like from talking to you when we were up at the network together that everything falls in place.
See, I think last World Baseball Classic is when Aaron Judge signed the big contract, and he was like, no, my dedication is to the New York Yankees. You just noticed that happen with Cody Bellinger. So I wonder if this is a franchise thing or if it's out of respect. If you sign a contract, you shouldn't really be going to play in the World Baseball Classic. But if this is your first year watching, man, are you spoiled. I'm telling you right now, I know I sound like an old man. Get off my lawn. But the guys, the Beef Stew Jones that played for the USA team the first year, the roster was like a joke. It was AAA guys. It was like a couple of dudes who were over-the-hill veterans. Ken Griffey Jr. was like the top of the top, and he was really old. And what I'm saying is that every year the tournament has gotten better and better and better, and more people have joined. Now it's going to be broadcasted live on Fox. I'm going to be there for the finals. I already got my ticket. I'm already going to be booking my flight down there. You guys are going to see me covering the World Baseball Classic live down in Miami. I'm going down there from the 13th to the 18th. And if it all works out, I'm going to be going down there.
A lot easier once you get that piece. Can you talk about your kind of recruitment of Judge and what it meant to have him as first piece on the chessboard in place, captain of the team, to putting the rest together?
You know, we get back to the first part talking about captains. When I did this in 23 and Mike Trout was the captain, when we would hit, you could sense guys wanting to see him. Even the game's greats, they were watching what he was doing. They were enamored by the way the ball came off his bat. It sounded different, Joel. There's no denying it, right? So, like, I knew if we could get Judge, position players would fall in line because who doesn't want Kyle Schwarber asked to be in it. He wants to be in his hitting group like that. You know what I'm saying? They want to be around this guy and see what he's about. We tried to get him in 23, and that's when he was going through the whole free agency process. I had reached out to him in 23. He didn't know if he was going, San Francisco, and we were at the winter meetings. There was a bunch of stuff going on. I remember it. And he kind of just said, it's too much on my plate mentally. I'm going to back out, and then hopefully in 26 it works out. So right when I got to the network, right before opening day.
First of all, it's really cool that Aaron Judge is becoming the elder statesman, and he's getting the respect that he is due because the work that he's put in as a player, other guys want to be like him. And that's a really cool aspect of it. Another cool aspect about it is, let's say Aaron Judge has a huge World Baseball Classic. Let's say he goes off. I think that helps with his confidence in October. I know he kind of got the monkey off his back against the Toronto Blue Jays, but not officially. But I think tournaments like this, let's say if it comes down to crunch time, he's in the finals against Japan, has a game-winning home run. You know that that's going to carry over into the regular season, which he's already got figured out. Then the postseason, because just like I said, the Yankees are one World Series win away from Aaron Judge going off in the playoffs.
Andy Pettit, who's the pitching coach, who's a friend for life now and one of the best dudes I've ever met in my life. He texted me and goes, "Hey, just so you know, I've talked to 99 already down in Tampa, and he's in if you want to call him." I called him literally within the hour. And I just left a message, just said, "Hey, Aaron, I'm not going to bug you throughout the year. This is Mark DeRosa. I talked to Andy Pettit. I'd love for you to be, obviously the captain of Team USA and kind of start with you and filter everything around you as the pillar of this thing." And he called me back within 48 hours and was like, "Hey, I'm in. I want to do it." So I just kind of slow play. That's how I kind of, Joel, I started it in April. I just started slow playing and trying to make pitches to, if I was building a dream team at night in my apartment on paper. And, trying to make lineups out and pitching staffs and all. And I was just slowly cold calling people and seeing where their head was at. Paul Skenes was my next call.
And how'd that go? So take us through it. So that's
Before we get to Paul Skenes, let me just go through the roster of the United States team. Okay, let's start with the pitchers. In the bullpen, Bednar, Mason Miller, Gabe Spryer, Griffin Jacks, Brad Keller, Joe Ryan, Michael Wacha, Matthew Boyd, Clevenger, Kershaw, Paul Skenes, Logan Webb, Clay Holmes, Nolan McLean, Skubal, and Garrett Whitlock. Holy shit. Catchers, Big Dumper, and Will Smith. Loaded. Infielders, Alex Bregman, Ernie Clement, Paul Goldschmidt, Bryce Harper, Gunnar Henderson, Bryce Turang, Bobby Witt Jr. Hey, Blue Jays fans, I didn't know your boy Ernie Clement plays for USA. Let's go, baby. It's going to be good watching him win against you guys. Outfielders, Roman Anthony, Brian Buxton, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Aaron Judge. Designated hitter, Kyle Schwarber. Let's go. Sounds like some W's, folks. I'll tell you who is stacked, and we'll break it down. I'll make some more videos. Dominican Republic is stacked, obviously. Japan, stacked. And you got to remember, when the World Baseball Classic first started off, when I was telling you that the USA had nobody on their team, the Japanese international team would play and practice with each other all year round. So when the Japanese showed up, it was like a hot knife through butter on these guys who just got thrown together for 2 weeks. Imagine playing for the Netherlands and going up against Team Japan.
So I knew I had to pillar for the position player side. I figured, the rub on Team USA has always been it's very tough to get their pitchers, not for lack of want to, for lack of teams not wanting them to. And
Right.
The risk reward aspect of it, which I totally get. But this thing's got legs now. This thing's a monster. So guys want to be a part of it. So I knew with Skenes' kind of military background, the whole Air Force Academy transfer in LSU, I knew it would kind of be in his heart to want to do it. I just didn't know. So I just reached out to him and he called me back right away. I said, "Hey, Paul," and he goes, "I'm in." I said, "I don't have to pitch you. I got a whole pitch in place ready to give it to you." And he goes, "No, Mark, this has been on my heart for a while. I want to do it for every serviceman and woman that stands and protects us and allows us to do what we want to do." I said, you're changing the game now. You're going to change it for us because you will.
That's awesome. And when you got a guy like Skenes and Skubal, and don't get crazy, there's going to be pitch limits. The teams put limitations on the guys in the World Baseball Classic. I think for the first round, it's something like 60 pitches for a starting pitcher. Now, this is going off of memory. They might have changed it, but this is the way it is. 60 for the first round for the group setting. And it's just like the World Cup where you have a group setting and then you go into the tournament. For the group setting, it's 60. I think for the finals, for the next, it's for 70. And then for the finals, I think the highest they can get is 80 pitches. But, no one's looking to hurt anybody. Mark DeRosa knows what he's doing. He's played every position on the field. Team USA is getting geared up. I just mentioned the roster to you. It's locked and loaded, and a guy like Aaron Judge leading the way as captain. USA is the odds-on favorite to win the World Baseball Classic this year. But
will be the best pitcher that's ever put on the USA uniform and taken the bump. So after that, it was like, all right, if I got Judge and I got Skenes, A, we got to hold them, and B, let's start. Then it was Skubal, then it was Zach Wheeler, then it was, I just kind of started going down the line. Everybody has been just over the moon to want to do it. And
that's the way that it works. It's like going to a party in college. They goes like, "Yo, what are you doing?" "Nothing, just chilling." "Yo, you want to come over and chill?" "Who's over there?" We got Judge, we got Skenes, and Skubal's around. Yeah, I'll be over in 5. That's it's all about the dominoes. It's all about the big names. And now guys are like, well, if he's doing it, I'll do it. And that's what's changed with the World Baseball Classic, and that's what DeRosa's done as a great job as a manager. He coached Team USA before. This is his second go-around, and he's done a great job of getting the talent. Let's see how they execute under pressure.
It's funny. I wish we had 35 roster spots because there's some guys that are getting left out that shouldn't.
So Mark, you mentioned that this has legs, and everyone wants to do it. Is that because of last time? I mean, I think that there was such great momentum, and then, come on, man, if you and I are drawing it up, we'd probably draw.
The last out of the World Baseball Classic last time was Shohei Ohtani pitching to Mike Trout. like he's about to say. You can't write it up any better than that. And I think that was the tournament, the breakthrough tournament. But the lead up to that, you can see the Dominican Republic United States game that I played, the United States Puerto Rico game, where the Captain America David Wright game. I mean, there's been history all throughout this, and it's nice that people are waking up to it. Not so nice for the ticket prices now when I've been looking at those.
With Trout getting a home run.
No doubt.
They certainly draw it up as Ohtani versus Trout to end the tournament.
Yeah.
And U.S. versus Japan. Look, I don't want to be disrespectful to any of the other teams in the tournament. This is so great that players from all over the world play our sport, you know, we're not going to get political, but in a problematic time in the world and our country about people coming together, like people come together and play baseball. If you could see a clubhouse, how many different people from how many different places create harmony to make things work. And this is a time where people get to show some pride in where they come from. But clearly people would like to see it come down to you two again. Is that why there's such enthusiasm this time around?
Yeah, I'd like to give some credit to the Latin American countries as well. I mean, I played winter ball in Venezuela when I was coming up through the Brave system, and it changed my whole mindset.
Yeah, and you might have heard how Puerto Rico wasn't being insured, and the way that works is that if guys have sustaining injuries, they won't sign the insurance policy for these guys. So if they do get hurt like Diaz did, the team will not be compensated monetarily for their contract this year. So the way that it works, I looked it up. If a guy gets hurt, they take insurance out on the player. The insurance covers the contract for the year. It's given to the team from the World Baseball Classic. But they won't okay the policy if you already have pre-existing terrible injuries. So Correa, Lindor, and somebody else. And in fact, now that I think about it, was Lindor rejected from the World Baseball Classic because they knew of that hamate bone? But I know a couple of ankles and something else, and they wouldn't insure these guys. So Puerto Rico's always been a good team in the tournament. Dominican Republic's always been a good team in the tournament. Always good baseball.
How hard it was for me, and they took me under their wing out in Caracas, and I wouldn't have been able to eat and sleep and do all the things I wanted to do. So, you know, I was always kind of loyal to the Venezuelan guys on my team that I played with after I went there in '99. So for Trey Turner hits that home run against that grand slam against Venezuela, that was like a serious moment for me. And all the guys, I had told the guys prior to that game that if someone went deep, I wanted us to all go to home plate. Like, I wanted change for 162, it's a marathon. You can't, at least I couldn't act a certain way for 162. But for 2.5 weeks with the whole world watching in a blast like this, I know how my son is 16 years old and consumes the game. And I wanted to, like, let's take it to the next level. Like,
and this is going to build baseball throughout the country. If the United States plays up to their ability, and he's exactly talking about the atmosphere that the World Baseball Classic brings, in a sport that's dying in our country, with signups for Little League plummeting, the youth is the key to baseball surviving. Baseball's been around 160 years now. They need to get the youth involved, and they need to get an itch for the game. Guys like Aaron Judge, who are bigger than life, and Paul Skenes have definitely helped getting more youth and more young people's eyeballs onto Major League Baseball. The contracts with NBC, bringing baseball games to Saturday night where more eyeballs can see it. That's a perfect thing. This World Baseball Classic tournament is just not about a tournament. It's about building baseball in the United States of America so baseball can be healthy for another 160 years. So remember, I'm going to be covering it all. World Baseball Classic, wall to wall. Also, do you want to see me go down to the World Baseball Classic? Because I'm thinking about going, but I just want to know if I'm going to cover it. I'm going to be live streaming down there because the atmosphere is must-see TV. And also, speaking about must-see TV, New York Minute Sports. It's New York sports for New York nuts. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. And remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. Good night, Canada. Bye.